Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to my live video cast. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Allegra and you are watching the Harness the Power of Planning live video cast that will later go up as a podcast wherever you listen. This will be episode 128. So if you want to listen to it again or watch it again, you can always do so on whatever platform you listen to. Episode 128 of the Harness the Power of Planning website. And my name is Allegra. I join you every Thursday at this time to talk about how planning makes everything easier. That's my motto. That's the motto I live by. And, I think part of it is because I choose to live a life where I have quite a few things going on. That's just interesting to me. But I also know, there's a saying in the productivity world that for every 1 minute of planning that you do, you save 10 minutes of doing. And I've definitely experienced this in my life. In fact, maybe if I wasn't so organized, maybe I would do fewer things because I just wouldn't have the time. But when you're organized and you do planning, it's like you create time where previously there wasn't time. And today's topic is definitely all about creating time out of nothing. And that is repetitive eating. I know this sounds like a really boring topic, but I think it's really amazing when you think about how much less stressful it is to eat repetitively and how you can ensure that you're eating things that you like. It makes shopping easier. Anyway, we'll talk all about that in just a few moments. But if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. If you're watching live, you can comment in the chat. I will see it. If you're listening to the recording, I will also see the chats then too. It just might take a little bit longer. And now my podcasting thing is giving me all these little bells and whistles. They want me to include ghosts or something like that. I don't know. It's asking me if I want to include holiday designs. And I'm like, you really should have told me that beforehand. That would have been better. So anyway, so all of that is to say that I am Allegra. My business is called Beyond Your Wildest Dreams, and I have written these 4 books. They're all short reads. I call them my little bouquet of books, and they're all designed to be read in an hour or less, and they're workbooks because the brain science shows that you learn better when you do things rather than when you just read them, consume them passively. And so that's what these are all about, helping you save time and prioritize yourself and your goals. And as always, I like to start my podcast by pulling a card from this little deck of sayings. I have no idea. I never look at them in advance. So I have no idea what's in here. Okay. So let's see what the quote is today. Great opportunities to help others seldom come, but small ones surround us every day. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Sally Koch. I am not sure who that is, so I don't know how to pronounce her name, but great. Okay, so I'm going to emphasize this differently now that I've read it once because I feel like what the saying is meaning is great opportunities to help others seldom come, but small ones surround us every day. Wow, I'm really feeling this one because if you've listened to me before, then you know that I am a big fan of my local Buy Nothing group. I actually started my local Buy Nothing group. And if you don't know what Buy Nothing is, it's kind of hard to explain quickly because it's changed a lot. But Buy Nothing started as these hyper-local Facebook groups where it's people just ask for things and they give things. And it has been an amazing experience for me. It's created an amazing community that I hoped for, but you don't really know what's going to happen when you start something like this. Because essentially you're bringing together a complete group of strangers and you're hoping it'll coalesce into something that is beneficial to everybody. And it absolutely has in so many more ways than I could expect. One of the great things about the Buy Nothing group is that you really find like-minded people. And so it's almost like you get to, because you share certain values, you get to cut through all of the superficial parts of getting to know someone and kind of get to the heart of it. And so you can find yours. They've changed how you find them. It's a long story. You can find the story in major media on the internet in terms of how Buy Nothing has changed in the last couple of years. However, if you go onto Facebook and you type Buy Nothing in your neighborhood, you will probably find it. Hopefully you'll find it. Okay, so all of that is to say that the Buy Nothing is all about community. Yes, you're giving stuff away, and yes, you're even getting cool things too. But really, it's all about creating community. And that has really shown up in our group as people are on the verge of losing their SNAP benefits because of the federal shutdown. And SNAP stands for something nutrition. So basically it's what allows people helps people buy food if they are in some way concerned about food scarcity. And I guess it works really well, the SNAP program, because there were people in our group that I had no idea that food scarcity might be something that they would be concerned about. And I'm so grateful that they feel safe enough. I'm going to get a little misty here. I'm so grateful that they feel safe enough in our community to say, "Hey, y'all, I need some help." And it's not a big thing. It's not like Sally says here. It's not a great opportunity. Although if you think about it, what's a better opportunity? What's a greater opportunity than helping keep someone fed, really? So maybe it is a great opportunity, but it's also a small one because we're all going to pitch in, right? Maybe you can't give a huge thing, but maybe you can give something. And I know we're going to get through this. I know our community is going to support each other and get through this, and we are going to embrace this great and small opportunity to help each other. But, if you've listened to me before, you know that I do stand-up comedy, and I really think that my stand-up comedy show, So Is Saucy, is a exercise in showing up so that people can hear stories they might not always hear. And we can say, hey, our stories matter. And at the end of the show, I said, at the end of my last show, I said, this is what our society needs more of, is people coming together and laughing with strangers about our common humanity. Because the thing with Soy Saucy, my show, Soy Saucy, all the comedians are Asian or Latin. However, we're all different. There's someone who's Cuban and I think Polish. There's another person who is Colombian and Ukrainian. There is me, who I am Asian, and I am Chinese and Mexican. There's Puerto Rican and Irish. There are people who are, just one thing. None of us are the same combination. And yet when you see our comedy, you realize our stories are your stories are our stories. We all have the same things, right? Families that are challenging, friends that are challenging, weird things that we notice. And I said, this is what we need more of, is coming together as a community. I really do believe that community is the answer to so many things. And hopefully I am creating one here with you as you listen. I am more than misting up. I am getting super teary here. So, so thank you, Sally, for this reminder that, great opportunities to help others seldom come, but small ones surround us every day. If you can help someone today, please do so. And, I always think that if we all looked out for our neighbors, to the sides of us and behind or in front of us, however your situation is set up, we would all be looked out for, right? If we all just looked here and there, if we all looked out for 2 or 3 people, everyone would be looked out for. Actually, sorry, that just gives me one other thought. I heard this saying the other day, and I really struggled with it. but I'm going to say it to you all because maybe you need to hear this saying. This saying is, we were not put here. Hold on. I want to make sure I get it right. Here it is. Okay. My planner is right in front of me. For those of you who don't know, I always have my planner right in front of me. Here it is. You can see how thick it is because it's towards the end of the year. Yeah, it's huge. Oh, except for the books. The books don't need to be in there. It's huge now this time of year because I've filled it with lots of things at this point. And so I'm looking for the thing is here to be loved, comforted, and understood. You were put here to love, comfort, and understand. Let's see, my friend wrote it in this beautiful calligraphy. You were not put here to be loved, comforted, and understood. You were put here to love, comfort, and understand. If you can find a way to love, comfort, or understand someone today, give it a shot because it's important. Okay. Well, I think I'm under control now. So let's talk about eating repetitively. Friends who know me often tease me about the fact that I eat a kale salad and sweet potato pretty much every day. So common that I often take it with me places. In fact, when my child was really little and it would be a hot day, sometimes this is, before I was homeschooling her more rigorously when she was, 3, 4, preschool age. And it was really warm. We would go to the mall and I would bring our own food, both for health and for cost. And I always brought kale salad and roasted sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes I cut them up really thin and then I roast them in a little bit of ghee and a little bit of salt in the toaster oven. And so I would always have both these things. And on more than one occasion, an adult would stop and say, "Is your child eating kale?" Because it was that really, really dark kale, the lacinato kale, right? So it's super noticeable. I was like, "Yes, she is." And my daughter is the best salad eater I know at 15. She will never turn down a salad, which is amazing to me because I don't think I really ate a salad until I was in my 20s or 30s. Anyway, so for me, in my health journey of my life, I would consider my whole life has been a health journey because I was not educated on health or nutrition growing up. I didn't learn anything about health and nutrition until in my 20s in college when I got really, really, really sick. So sick that I actually asked my parents to take me to the emergency room because I felt like I was dying. I didn't know that's how bad I felt. It was just the worst I'd ever felt in my entire life. And when I got better, that feeling was so horrible that I was committed to getting healthy. And so I had a friend who was super duper healthy, and she kind of gave me some pointers on how to eat, and also to the doctor when I went to go get checked up after being really, really sick and then getting better. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor asked me a question that just really struck me. He said, "When was the last time you ate a piece of fresh fruit?" And it had been years. I couldn't even recall when the last time was. That's how long it had been. And the doctor was like, "You need nutrients." And so I was committed to becoming healthier because I had been so unhealthy. And my friend who was super healthy, she always ate a salad for lunch. And I was like, "Okay, well, I need to get more fresh stuff into my body. Seems like the fastest way to do that is with salads. And so I was committed to eating a salad every single day. However, I hated I have texture issues and I hate I don't even know the name of it now because it's been so long since I had it. Iceberg lettuce. That's what it's called. Iceberg lettuce. When I was in college, it seemed like all that was served was iceberg lettuce, and it was so mushy and gross and disgusting. And so, I tried other things. Fortunately, I found that I liked cabbage because it's crunchy. But really, my big salad breakthrough came when I went to a farmer's market and I saw someone buying lots of kale. And I asked the farmer, I said, how does one eat that? Because it just looks so tough. And he said, you can just eat it straight, or you can, cut it and then kind of mush it, massage it, mash it up, and it'll, if you wait a few minutes, it'll get a little bit softer. And I said, "Okay, great. I'm gonna try some of that kale." And I never looked back. When I discovered kale, it was like I had fallen in love with a green for the first time in my life. It was my perfect green. It didn't have a strong flavor, in my opinion. It didn't have a strong flavor, and I loved how crunchy it was. It would hold its crunch all day long so that I could do things like pack a lunch in the morning and then not eat it until lunch, and the greens would not be mushy. So that was my big thing. So first thing I want to suggest to you is that as humans, we need fruits and vegetables. And the more fiber that I've added to my diet, the healthier I find I am. And there's a wonderful book. I will put a link to it in the show notes called How Not to Die. Now, it's not about living forever. It's each chapter is how not to die from cancer, how not to die from high cholesterol, whatever. All those chapters. So each chapter is kind of standalone. It's kind of nice. The author is Dr. Michael Greger. And one of the things he said in this book that I just grabbed onto, I really believe if you read a book or listen to a podcast or attend a conference and you walk away from one good idea, then it's worth the price of admission. Okay. I feel like some people want to get too much out of something. They say like, "Oh, well, I didn't get enough out of this thing." Here's the thing. Your brain isn't designed to implement lots of ideas at the same time. And in fact, that'll work against you. I've talked about this before. It's kind of like why New Year's resolutions fail because people are like, "I'm going to make 20 changes at once." Really, we're designed to really focus on not a few things at a time, max. And so if you can get one good thing out of a book, a podcast, a conference, a class, whatever, that's awesome. Work on implementing that one thing. And so I had read this part in this book, How Not to Die. He talked about how, I think it was How Not to Die, because I've read like 3 of his books. And in one of these books, he mentioned that they had done a study where they had taken 2 groups and the 2 groups ate exactly the same food, except one group was given more fiber. I don't remember if it was a fiber supplement or if they had to eat something else, whatever. And I glommed onto that because I thought I was eating a lot of fiber. But after I listened to that book, I calculated my daily fiber and I realized that I was well below what they suggested. And they suggested something in the, I think 25 grams of fiber a day. And I was surprised to learn that like a kale salad would only have like 5 grams of fiber. So I was probably getting only about 15 grams of fiber a day. And so I committed to getting more fiber. And one of the ways I do that is by eating repetitively every morning. And I waited until now so I could show you. For those of you looking at the video, this is the green smoothie I eat almost every day. And it has over 10 grams of fiber. I haven't done the exact math on it, but I can tell you it has 10 grams of fiber alone in chia seeds. And you'll see it's floating around. For those of you looking, you can see them sticking on the side here. And these are the same chia seeds of chia fame, right? The chia head, same thing. It's these seeds, and you see they get gelatinous and they stick to things. And you only need 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, maybe 2.5, of chia seeds to get 10 grams of fiber. So literally, I had only had to change one thing to up my daily fiber intake to 25 grams. And I have noticed such a huge difference in my health that I have maintained this for a long time. So every morning, green smoothie. Now, let me just explain. Every morning I get up and I make 3 drinks. I make warm water with lemon, which is the first thing I have in the morning. And I soak my chia seeds in water to give them time to get gelatinous and sprout, because that gelatinous part is valuable as well. And so I want to give them time to sprout. And I make my tea, this tea here, which is hibiscus and matcha tea. And I make all 3 because that's my priority, is getting this good nutrition into my body. And by making all 3 first thing in the morning, it ensures that I am hydrated and nourished at least for the first half of the day. This is pretty much all I have until lunchtime. And the great thing about doing anything repetitively, making anything a habit, is that it uses a lot less mental energy. That's why our brains create habits, because our brain is so energy intensive. It only weighs about 2% of our body weight, but it uses about 20% of our calories. And because of that, our brain is always looking for a way to save calories. And one of the ways you do that is by making something a habit. And this is why eating habitually saves mental and physical energy, because your body, you don't have to think about what am I going to eat today? I remember thinking that. I'd be like, oh, am I going to have eggs? Am I going to have cereal? It was almost analysis paralysis. Like I had too many options. And so you save so much time and energy by just deciding what you're going to eat in the morning. Whatever it is, just eat it. I know someone who eats oatmeal every single day. She loves oatmeal. That's what she does. Find the thing that you like. It doesn't have to be a green smoothie. Find the thing that you like. Figure out what it is that you want to prioritize in terms of your health and nutrition, and then eat that repetitively. So fiber and protein, fiber first and then protein. These are my priorities. And I do that with these 3 drinks in the morning. In the afternoon, I have a kale salad with beans or legumes. That's my most common meal, and also nuts and seeds in it, so that I'm getting fiber and protein. My second choice lunch, which I eat maybe once a week, is tortilla wrap, Ezekiel tortillas. If you know those, they're like a lentil-based tortilla. Ezekiel wrap with a little bit of hummus, a little bit of garlic spread, some mashed avocado, and then I add walnuts and tempeh and kale to that. And that is my other lunch. So again, fiber and protein, fiber and protein. And then really the only meal that I cook is dinner. So my breakfast is very repetitive, my lunch is very repetitive, and then dinner is the only time when I actually put some thought process into that. And that's even a little bit repetitive in my family. My family really likes salmon and gnocchi. And so we'll do salmon, gnocchi, and cauliflower often one night a week. I like to do these tofu curries. So I do tofu curry one night a week. Sometimes we'll do turkey tacos one night a week. So that is also repetitive. And it saves you so much time when you're grocery shopping, because I just know what I have to buy. Every week I have to buy 2 bunches of kale, 1 bunch of cilantro, right? I have to buy 4 avocados. I have to buy 4 tubs of organic hummus. I have to buy 2 bags of Ezekiel tortillas. Like, I know what I have to buy because I have to buy it every week. It's the same exact thing. And it saves you time, it saves you energy, and you know that you're gonna have healthy food. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, when my husband and I first got married, I remember wasting, and maybe it wasn't wasting because that's a judgment call, spending so much time thinking about dinners. Like, I wanted every dinner to have an appetizer, an entree, a dessert. I don't know. I guess I didn't grow up with Leave It to Beaver, but for some reason I had this like perfect dinner, eating together, and I worked. So I was trying to come up with this perfect multiple course meal every night, and I was working outside of the house in an office building. And I still remember how time intensive it was. And eventually I said to my husband, you know what? I can't do this. And by the way, he helps. Our deal is I cook, he cleans up because I like to cook. He's more detail oriented than I am, so it's better to have him do the cleaning anyway. So that's how we split that up. And I said to him, I was like, this is exhausting. And he's like, we don't have to eat like this every night. Make it easier. We could also, he's like, I love, your tacos. We could eat that every week. And so we agreed. And eventually we got to this point where we just, we have these repetitive dinners, and it's so much easier in terms of time, in terms of mental energy, and also in terms of time spent shopping. It's so much easier. So, what I want to suggest to you is to figure out what your priorities are in terms of your food. Uh, maybe nutrition isn't top of mind. Maybe just saving time is top of mind. That's cool. Figure out your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And, if you want to go even a step further, maybe you only have 2 options for breakfast. Because for me, it's my smoothie pretty much every day. And once in a while, especially when it's cold, I'll have a bowl of oatmeal. But it pretty much has all the same things as in my smoothie. It's just a different format. So maybe, have a plan A and plan B for breakfast, have a plan A and plan B for lunch, and then list out 5 to 10 things that you're good at making for dinner that your family enjoys, and just rotate those. Try it out. See how much time and energy you save. Not only time and energy, but again, whatever your goal is, especially if you have like a health or nutrition goal, it's going to help you get there regular by being super consistent and regular about it. I actually recently, there's no way for you to know this, but some people have been commenting, so I'll just mention it here. About a little over a year ago, I did talk about on my podcast how I was deciding to really take cholesterol seriously, because as you are in perimenopause, entering menopause, women's cholesterol goes up because cholesterol is the building blocks that our body uses to make female hormones. So your body stops making the female hormones and your cholesterol naturally goes up. So I've been in perimenopause. I'm approaching official menopause because I've been in perimenopause about 10 years, where I've just seen my periods like go from like 12 to 11 to 10 to 9 to 8 to 7 to 6, and then it went to 3. And then it's been the last year. So when I go 12 months without a period, that's officially menopause. Menopause is a finish line. Perimenopause is the marathon that leads to the finish line. So in 2026, I might officially be in menopause. So as I've been in perimenopause, I've seen my cholesterol creeping up. And last year, 2024, it officially hit the point where like I was on the border of it being problematic. And so I decided to take it really, really seriously. And I added a lot more beans to my diet. And I also decided to stop eating. I used to put half a banana in my smoothie just, for flavor, and it was made it a lot sweeter. It made it a little bit thicker. I used to put half a banana in my smoothie. So I added more beans. I made sure I was doing the chia regularly, and I took out half a banana daily. And again, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV or on podcasts. But I was doing blood tests I think I did it every 2 months immediately after that doctor's appointment where he told me my cholesterol was high. And then I did it like every 2 months for like 2 months, 2 months, 2 months. So like 6 months. And I saw my cholesterol going down. I was like, okay, great. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right track because I was making these radical changes. I wanted to make sure I was on the right track. So now it has been a little over a year, and I won't have my lab tests until hopefully I'll have them for the next podcast because I'm excited to share them. I'm excited to see how low they are. However, I did already have my doctor's appointment. And one thing that happened that I haven't been tracking because I just don't like to is my weight. I don't get on a scale regularly. And I don't pay attention when I'm at the doctor's because I'm wearing clothes and it's always different times of day and I have different shoes on. And so I never pay attention to what the number is when I'm at my doctor's. However, the doctor said, "Hey, you're down 10 pounds." And I said, "I am?" Again, because I haven't been paying attention, and I I sensed that something was different. My clothes have definitely been fitting differently, and people who don't see me frequently have, kind of commented a little bit. But again, I haven't been tracking it. What I have been tracking all my blood sugar levels. I'm super excited to see what those are. I should get that information by next week. But what repetitive eating and what having some clear priorities like, fiber and protein have done for me is definitely helped me to slim down, apparently. So so that's been interesting and surprising. But I can tell you, I mean, I didn't have any aches or pains beforehand, but I definitely feel like I have more energy, which is a little bit scary because I was already high energy. So so there you go. Repetitive eating to save time, to save energy, and to, be healthier if that's a goal that you're working on. It doesn't have to be. Look, I'm never going to tell you what your goals should be. Although I do believe that, if you want to accomplish your goals, having health as a first goal is helpful because it gives you the time and energy to do other things. I know, as someone who was bedridden for 3 months with a herniated L5-S1 vertebra, when your health isn't when your health is an issue, then it's your number one priority. It was all I thought about when I was bedridden. I was almost all I did all day long was try and recuperate from that. So, from that point of view, maybe health should be a goal of yours because then it'll give you time to do other things. However, I'm never going to tell you what you should focus on. You know better than anyone what you should focus on. So, if you want to eat repetitively to reduce stress, save time, save money, then, figure out what it is that you want to focus on and then come up with a plan for that. Because as I said, planning makes everything easier. Thank you for joining me today. Please like and subscribe and rate wherever you watch or listen. It costs you nothing and it helps me in the algorithm. And it helps me to know what is speaking to you so I can bring you more great content. And the next couple of episodes, I have some great things happening. Next week, I'm going to get really, really specific about planning for Thanksgiving. because I do have a very specific plan that I implement personally that has really helped me out, and I want to share that with you. And the following week, November 13th, I believe that's the right date, but so in 2 weeks, uh, I'm going to have my friend Diane Allen. She is an expert on flow. If you've watched my podcast before, you might have heard me mention her book. And I think it's really interesting in terms of thinking about how you can bring more joy into your work life by getting into flow. Because I know that when I'm in flow, I am just enjoying everything I'm doing. And it's like time stands still because I'm just so engaged. So join me for that. Like, rate, and subscribe wherever you listen. And remember, planning. Oh my gosh. I almost forgot. Planning makes everything easier. Yes. And in terms of planning makes everything easier, I just want to add one little thing here. I am always around this time of the year, people are always telling me, Allegra, I want to get more organized next year. Right. So I know people are starting to think about 2026 and how they could want to get more organized. So if you go to my website, bywdreams.com, and then once you're there, type in Get Organized 2026. I am doing a special training, 2 days only, early December, so you can do some thinking about 2026 before 2026 happens. I've always found this to be the best way to enter the new year with momentum, because instead of thinking about like, oh, the end of the year, and then the beginning of the year, this thinking ahead allows you to roll into the new year. You've already thought about it. So for those of you who are watching this video, go to bywdreams.mailerpage.com/getorganized2026, or you can just go to bywdreams.com, let it, do its thing. And then once you're there, add Get Organized 2026 to the end of the URL and you'll get there. And so it's only 2 days. It's on December. I don't have the thing right in front of me. It's on December. It's like 5th and 7th, 2 days, 45 minutes each day. You'll see at the Get Organized 2026. Sorry, Monday, December 8th and Wednesday, December 10th. So I give you a day in between to kind of think about things. So much of planning is planting the seed in your brain and then kind of letting your subconscious work on it. And then, oh, okay, this is what I want to do. So I want to give you a day there to kind of think about things. So you see the 8th and the 10th. And then I have some optional days. The 8th and the 10th are in yellow. You'll see on the little calendar. The optional days are in pink. Those are little special bonuses for you if you want to do more, if you want to get a little bit more information that I think will help you. But the meat of the stuff will be on Monday, the 8th and Wednesday, the 10th from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. So 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And it's just $50 to join me. So isn't it worth $50 to get organized for the new year? And if you're the sort of person who wants a little bit more information, I do have an option to get more time with me, which is where you will have live Q&A sessions after the Monday and Wednesday. You will get an hour live. Everything is happening on Zoom. So they will be recorded. You will be able to watch them later. So you'll get an hour live Q&A with me after, and also anyone who does the VIP package with the live Q&A, you'll also have opportunities to work with me one-on-one after the session, special offers. So that is $100, the VIP option. So it's $50 to do just the 2 sessions, $100 to do the VIP session. But because you're a podcast listener, I'm giving you a special coupon, which is simply podcast for the VIP. It will bring it down to $75 if you use the coupon code podcast for the VIP package. So if you want to get more organized in 2026, join me for Get Organized. Is that so meta or what? Get Organized 2026. And hopefully I'll see you there. And remember,